Hello, and welcome to the Illegal Interview Questions webinar from the University Career Center. My name is Donna Schrader. My picture is on the left-hand side of the screen. On the right is Ashley Penner, and Ashley's not with us today, but she works in the Career Center and you can utilize her as well. I'll be providing a great deal of information that's not included on the slides, so I recommend that you take notes, and then if you have questions, be sure to contact us at the Career Center. Our first learning outcome is to provide information that will help you identify illegal questions. Also, we want you to be able to identify legal versions of illegal questions so you can answer those questions. In addition, we provide information that will help you decide how you will respond if asked an illegal question during an interview. Illegal interview questions are prohibited by law because they are used to discover personal information that is not specifically related to the interviewee's ability to perform the job functions. The information from these illegal questions might be used to discriminate against protected groups of citizens. Those protections include age, disability, genetic information, national origin, marital status, pregnancy, race, color, religion, gender, and sexual orientation. Additional information can be found in the Fair Inquiry Guidelines that were established by the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, the EEOC. These guidelines provide the most up-to-date information and can be found at the EEOC website, www.gsa.gov/EEO. Also, recognize that some questions are relevant to the position. If you're seeking a position as a campaign manager for a politician, questions about your political preferences are fair game. If you are seeking a position with a religious organization, there may be questions about your religion, your moral values, and ethics related to the job. If you expect to have questions such as those during the interview, the Career Center can help you craft answers to those questions during a mock interview. Keep in mind that you can volunteer any information that you would like the prospective employer/interviewer to know, but you're not obligated to answer illegal questions. Discrimination in the workplace has been reduced through both state and federal legislation and changing societal attitudes. Under the law, an employer cannot deny an individual employment based on age, arrest record, color, disability, genetics, national origin, marital status, military service, pregnancy status, race, religion, sex or gender, or sexual preference. Employers may ask specific questions if the question is clearly related to the qualifications or responsibilities of the job. For example, proof of age may be required for certain positions such as bartender. Employers may ask about authorization to work in the U.S. and language skills for international positions that require specific language knowledge. For certain positions, illegal questions may be asked as a test. The interviewer is checking to see how the interviewee would handle illegal questions and confidential information in the position. For example, in the areas of finance, auditing, and banking, illegal questions might be asked just to find out how readily the interviewee would divulge confidential information. You will need to be aware of expectations for the specific position, company, or field. For example, confidentiality is a requirement for medical fields. Integrity and ethics are emphasized in many fields. There are many questions that are illegal to ask, but there may also be legal ways to ask those questions and gain the information that the interviewer or prospective employer wants to know. We have several examples of illegal questions and how those questions can be rephrased to be legal questions. Are you married, divorced, separated, engaged, widowed? What is your marital status? What are the names of relatives, spouses, children? With whom do you reside? Do you live with your parents? How old are your children? These are illegal versions of questions about marital status. Legal versions of this question include, What are the names of relatives already employed by our company or by a competitor? The marital status question is something that you may want to answer. For many employers, being married or in a committed relationship demonstrates stability and maturity. However, for women, the question may be the one that is intended to identify issues the employer wants to avoid. Training an employee who will need family leave or who will need time off to do all of the parent things moms are expected to do. Illegal questions about your residence include, who do you live with? Do you own your own home or do you rent? The legal versions of this question include, what is a valid address that we can contact you if needed? And remember, a post office box is a valid address. Will you have problems getting to work at 9 a.m. from your current residence? These types of questions are generally used to get to know you as a person. However, sometimes they are a way to weed out candidates. Many years ago, I was asked about my living arrangements because my physical address on my resume was a 30-mile drive from the workplace. The employer did not want to hire anyone who lived that far from work because in previous years, he had an employee who lived far from work and would not come in on bad weather days. So this employer wanted to know about my address for a specific reason. But now an employer would ask a legal version of that question, such as, are you able to get to work during adverse weather conditions? Questions relating to pregnancy and medical history concerning pregnancy are illegal. Illegal versions of questions about pregnancy and children include, do you have children? How many children do you have? Do you plan on having more children? Are you planning to start a family soon? Legal versions of this were questions about anticipated absences or duration of stay on the job must be made to both male and female applicants. Companies are allowed to ask about absences, but those questions must be asked of all applicants. It may still be used to gather information about your future plans, but it cannot be asked specifically about plans to have a family. Illegal questions in the category of physical health include any question that elicits information about handicaps or health conditions which do not reasonably relate to fitness to perform the job. Such questions must be specific and relate to requirements listed in the job description. A company can write any type of qualification into their job description within certain regulations. So being asked to stand for a certain amount of time, sit for a certain amount of time, or lift a certain number of pounds is legal. However, employers are not able to ask about your health or well-being in an attempt to determine if you will use sick days or utilize the insurance benefit. Illegal versions of questions about physical health include, do you have any handicaps? Have you ever had any serious illness? Do you have any physical disabilities? What is the prognosis of your handicap? Legal versions include, this job requires lifting. Can you lift 40 pounds? Do you need any special accommodations to perform the job you've applied for? It is illegal to ask whether an applicant is a citizen. It is illegal to require a birth certificate, naturalization, or baptismal certificate. The legal version of these questions is to ask if you have the legal right to work in the U.S. Everyone is now required to supply proof of employment eligibility to employers. So illegal citizenship questions include, are you a citizen of the U.S.? Are your parents or spouse citizens of the U.S.? Are you, your parents, or your spouse naturalized or native-born U.S. citizens? It is lawful to ask if the applicant is prevented from being legally employed in this country because of visa or immigration requirements. It is legal to ask if the applicant can provide proof of citizenship, such as a passport, a visa, or an alien registration number after hiring. Legal questions include, if you are not a U.S. citizen, do you have the legal right to remain permanently in the U.S.? Are you able to provide proof of employment eligibility upon hire? All inquiries relating to arrests are illegal. However, keep in mind that laws and regulations are changing, so questions that are illegal now may become legal. Also, there are some positions where questions of arrests and convictions can be asked. Public school educators and child care workers may be asked for this information, or they may be asked as part of the interview process to sign a document giving permission for a background check that covers arrests and convictions. Illegal are all inquiries relating to arrests, such as, have you ever been arrested? Legal inquiries may be made about convictions, but not arrests. It's permissible to inquire about convictions for acts of dishonesty or breach of trust. These relate to fitness to perform the particular job, such as positions in public schools or financial requirements. Legal questions include, have you ever been convicted of any crime? If so, when, where, and what was the disposition of the case? Have you been convicted under criminal law within the past 5 years, excluding minor traffic violations? There are many other questions that are illegal, but those just discussed are the ones that you may encounter most often. Be aware of the illegal questions and how those same questions may be phrased legally. Be sure that you answer the legal questions. For college students, age is probably not an issue because the employers know that you are just completing college. However, questions about age may be a form of discrimination for older job seekers. The only legal questions regarding education are those that are related to the qualifications listed in the job description. So employers may ask about your degree or certification, the name of schools you attended, and courses you studied. Questions of national origin or ancestry are illegal, but questions about languages spoken is legal if the job requires that language ability. There are no questions directly or indirectly related to race or color that are legal. In the area of religion or religious preferences, the only legal question would be related to job requirements, such as can you work on Saturdays, Sundays, or certain religious holidays. Many years ago, employers could ask to see a military veteran's discharge papers. That is no longer legal. However, employers can ask about experience, training, or education gained during the military that would be relevant to the job. It is probably best not to point out to the interviewer that has just asked an illegal question that the question is illegal, unless you are sure it is a test or you don't want that job. For example, anytime I have a student who is applying for HR positions, I always ask illegal questions to see their reaction. Students who want to work in human resources need to know how to handle illegal questions. Become adept at identifying illegal questions and practice how you will respond. Your responses to questions will determine how the interviewer views you as a candidate. During interviews, you have several options available if you are asked illegal questions. First, recognize the differences between questions that may be inappropriate but are not illegal. For example, being asked to tell a joke may be inappropriate during an interview, but it is perfectly legal. Another example is, if you were a pizza topping, what topping would you be? You may feel the question is inappropriate, but the interviewer is trying to get specific types of information from you. So these questions may be intended to determine creativity or how you react when put on the spot. We may feel these questions waste time, but they're not illegal. One way to handle an illegal question is to answer the legal version of the illegal question. The illegal question might be something like, how many children do you have and are you planning to have more? You would answer the legal version of this question. Do you have any obligations that would prevent you from fulfilling the job requirements? Answering the legal version of the illegal question takes practice. It is always appropriate to ask for clarification of a question, whether legal or illegal. For example, you can ask, how will that information impact the position? How is that related to the job requirements? Be polite and respectful, but ask for help in understanding what is behind the question. The interviewer may have a valid reason for asking for information, and you may want to answer, but answer the legal version of the question, not the illegal version. And finally, you can answer the illegal question. If you are willing to share that information with the interviewer, then you can do so. But one illegal question answered may lead to additional illegal questions, and at some point, you may not want to wish to answer. Identify illegal questions that you do not want to answer and practice your responses. We hope that interviewers are well trained and will not ask illegal questions, but that is not always the case, so be prepared and know how you will respond if you are asked illegal questions. Okay, here's a map of where the Wiggins Complex for the University Career Center is located on campus, but also we want you to be aware that as distance students, you have access to all of the services that on-campus students have. So we can work with you by phone, by email, and by Skype. You'll need to make appointments by phone, 806-742-2210. And we have lots of information on our Career Center website.